the Great Honey Podcast. I'm Maya, the Amaryllis Bee,
I'm Marcelle, the Gleeman.
and this is a show where we talk about all things Wheel of Time. If you're joining us from YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave a comment so we can chat. And we're doing kind of a special episode because I feel like
Right.
we needed to get a break from reading books straight through. Also, we're going to switch to bi-weekly. So
Yes. Well, I guess we can remind people at the end of the episode as well. But yeah, I think part of what we want to do is kind of catch up with some of the Wheel of Time show news. There's a lot of stuff that's happened for season 2 that we've found out about. And I think it's worth like kind of going through and kind of talking about it as very, big fans of the show. So I feel like it's a good way to get back into it. I guess it's been like a few weeks since we've done a chapter by chapter review, but we'll be back to those soon. But I think this will be fun.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like this is like, it was recently Jordan Con, which I've never been. Have you been?
I've not, no.
Okay, I'm kind of thinking I might try to go next year. But for Jordan Con, they finally announced the Aviendah casting, along with a lot of other fun hints that we'll talk about later.
And I guess maybe we should put this in the beginning for like spoiler warnings. Spoiler warnings,
yeah.
Probably through, I want to say this, let's just go through how much you've read Shadow Rising.
Okay. I'm almost back where I started. We're almost full circle. So,
right.
But yeah.
I don't want to like go beyond that, but I don't think any of the news that we've gotten so far will spoil anything beyond Shadow Rising. But yes, spoilers for Shadow Rising. Maybe I'll edit something here to show that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got Aviendah casting, and this is a big sort of deal because she's a huge character for the series, and I'm curious what you think about the casting as of Shadow Rising. I think you can kind of tell she becomes an important character in those two books, Dragon Reborn, I think, where she's introduced in Dragon Reborn, and then she becomes kind of like you can understand she becomes like kind of a staple character going forward. But what do you think? I mean, there's been a lot of backlash to the fact that she isn't as described into the books, in that she's Black, but I think everything else seems to fit.
Yeah, she's only, at least so far, I'm currently rereading The Shadow Rising. I've stopped reading halfway. If you've been listening to the show, you know this. So I'm like almost at the part where I will be completely clueless about what's going on.
Right.
Outside of my like really bad reading comprehension. And one of my, I guess the only scene she's been in so far is with Egwene, where Egwene is like, Aviendah is very awkward, but I think we could be best friends. And that was like the moment I remember the first time where I was like, I really like this character and I relate to her a lot. So it makes me really happy that she's Black. And also, I have a really bad habit of ignoring characters. And even after that, I remember not paying attention until there was some chemistry between her and Rand. And I was like, no, who is this person? I wasn't paying attention. And so, yeah.
I think
that's my Aviendah.
I think that's a good take, because I feel like she's a good character for hopefully, I hope the show does this, kind of use Aviendah as like an eye into what the Aiel are and their culture. She's very stringent about the culture, and I think getting a good actor in that role is important. And Elyas Smart I watched I did a YouTube of her. I think she's in a show that I've seen, but I didn't recognize her until I looked back. But she's in Killing Eve, a good show that I've actually enjoyed. But I went back and rewatched her scenes in that show, and she's really, really good. And I think the character of Aviendah is like a compelling sort of like really intense character. And I think she will, based on the things that I've seen from her in the shows that I've watched, that she's in. I don't think I've seen any movies. I think she is in a good movie that has been pretty well received as well. But I don't know. I kind of get the sense from what I've seen from Killing Eve that she would be really good as Aviendah, and a good sort of like look at the Aiel. That sort of like intensity that she brings to the character in Killing Eve, I think will be well served. And I don't know, I think it's an interesting take on this character. A lot of people are not happy that she's not white, but I don't see how that really affects the character of Aviendah at all.
The thing that confused me was that they were upset that a blonde person who was also rumored to be cast pretty soon, like a blonde, blue-eyed person. That's not how I pictured her at all. She's also described as dark-skinned.
Yeah.
You know what annoys me when people like pull like quotes out of books saying like this person is dark-skinned. Like they do describe her as having a darker complexion. So
yeah,
there's that. It's not that far off. And I really just don't feel bad for people who care about race and casting of shows in an imaginary world.
Yeah.
Very, very weird. And something
it's a weird thing. And I was kind of taken aback by how much backlash there was to it. But I think if these people actually cared about the character and actually cared beyond the description in the book, I think you would look at her performances and be like, this is a really good casting, I think. And I think she has the look too. So I'm actually pretty excited about this casting. So I'm happy because I think we still haven't seen Elaine Cara Coveney's character.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff that comes from them in their interactions. And I think we start to see that relationship start, I think in Dragon Reborn, maybe in Shadow Rising. But they have such a great dynamic in the book that I'm excited to see that begin earlier, because that's kind of what we're going to get to a little bit later, how they're going to translate the books to the show, because Aviendah doesn't really show up until I think she's introduced in the Dragon Reborn, which is the third book, but this is the second season, so we'll see how this works out. I'm super excited to see it, and I really want to see what they do with the Aiel next season, and I think she's a good representation of what the Aiel are, and I feel like we got a good intro to them last season with Rand's mom taking out a bunch of people. But yeah, I hope that continues in this next season.
Yeah, I'm also excited just to see how they're gonna do a diverse population of Aiel people.
Yeah,
I'm just excited to see that, and like I'm just so excited when they go to the waste, even though that's not gonna happen in this season at all. But I'm just excited.
I wonder. I'm not sure if Rand is gonna I guess I was gonna bring this up later, but I wonder if Rand is gonna go into the waste. And is that yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we haven't even gotten very far at all in anything, but I was trying to think of what I predict and thinking about new Matt, but also where was Rand going?
Yeah.
And then what was up with Nynaeve and Egwene? I know I'm getting completely off track, but it's fine.
No.
Like what are they gonna do with the burning out thing? I'm still a little confused about how that's gonna work out. I don't know.
I'm excited. Yeah, I think we'll get a bunch of changes, though some of those changes might speed up to some of the story arcs that I'm really excited to see. So we'll see. So what do we have as the next bit of news here? What do we write down? There's a lot of news.
We have Julian Lewis-Jones cast as Bayle Domon, which made me so happy because that was the one thing I was really upset that wasn't in season 1 was the spray and their little riverboat road trip chapter.
There's such a I feel like I wish he was in that season. I feel like that was kind of, I feel like I needed a couple more episodes of the travel scenes, but specifically with like Rand and Matt. But
And more time with Tom.
Yeah, true. So I'm excited to have Bayle Domon in. I don't know what he's gonna do. I'm so confused that I thought they kind of just left his character behind. But the fact he's gonna be in the next season, I'm super interested to see what they do with him.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, I have a guess of how they're going to introduce him, how I would do it if I was on the writing team. So he has, is it Quendalar? What's the
I would say Quendiar. That's how I would say it.
Like yes. Quendalar. Quendiar. So I remember in The Great Hunt, the way that he kind of gets reintroduced is that he is near where the Shan-Chan are, and they board his ship or something, and he basically gets out of it by offering them Quendiar, but then he still is kind of stuck dealing with them because he can't get away. So I imagine he's getting like dragged into the Shan-Chan ship, and that's how we're going to meet all those characters. And then he's going to be like, oh, I have this shiny thing, and they're going to be like, how did you get that? How did that get out? And they're going to freak out because they also have some kind of weird dragon reborn prophecy. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure they do, but and then they'll cut to him, and then
I wonder, because I think I think the Shan-Chan have a similar sort of prophecy. At least they understand that the Dragon Reborn. They understand the Dragon Reborn in the same way that people that live in, I guess, what is the show called, the Westlands, or but essentially they know that the Dragon Reborn is going to, be reborn and face the Dark One, and so they have a similar prophecy in that way, but they also like prioritize Dragon Reborn bowing to the Shan-Chan's like leadership, or the Empress. I think it could be an emperor. I don't think it's not like Camelin where it has to be a queen. I think it can just be whoever's in charge. But yeah, so I think you're right, because I feel like we're gonna get a big introduction to the Shan-Chan this season. And Bayle Domon seems to he has a lot of connection to the Shan-Chan, at least in the story. In that, like you said, like he gets kind of accosted by them and kind of like bribes his way out by being like, he was kind of a smuggler, right? That's his thing. Or at least he was like a kind of a thief, or he would just move stuff on his ship from place to place, as he says. And it's not necessarily, bad, but it depends on the laws that you're dealing with in the given place.
Fell off a wagon and he brought them for you.
Right, exactly. But I think he does use those seals that he has. He has I think he has one seal at least, and I think we find that out in the second book or the first book. But yeah, essentially, that's how he gets his way out of being, captured, or at least like the Shan-Chan realize the importance of what he has. So I think that's a good guess. I don't know how else he could be introduced.
Yeah. Although I'm still like upset he wasn't in season 1, because they're just gonna be like, who is this pirate?
Right. we did I really love our I think you did a reading of that section of the book from book 1 where they're on the spray. I love his character from that. So I mean, there's a lot of scenes that were really, really fun from that book, where Bayle Domon is kind of like, ushering Matt and Rand and Tom through like, I don't know, like several chapters in the middle of the book. Yeah. But we didn't get those. So I'm interested to see. And this guy seems, if you look at his screenshot, Julian Lewis Jones, you can see it. I think I imagined him more as like a heavier set dude,
I did
but
too. But I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like he's gonna have the vibe of like Tom Maryland or the not Theon Greyjoy, the other Greyjoy, the crazy one.
Euron.
Euron. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
I can
see
see
that.
that. Yeah, if they're gonna give him an eye patch or something, I
Yeah.
really would like to really dial up the pirate stuff. I don't know how they're gonna do it because like in the books he says like I do be Bayle Domon, like he speaks like a stereotypical pilot or a pirate. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it in the show. I wonder if they're not they'll just kind of do away with the pirate talk, but I don't know. I can't see it
You
translating
think
well.
that they're gonna give the Shan Chan a Texan accent?
I don't think so. I can't. I can't imagine that being very interesting. I'm sorry to Texans who may be watching this.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get banned from
Maybe.
Texas.
I mean, like, I know like that's what Robert Jordan kind of like styled the his writings for their language after. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I think it'll be hopefully they make it different, but a Texan accent, I don't know. I don't see it being very, I feel like I'd laugh at it.
Yeah. Yeah, they
But
need to be terrifying.
yeah,
So yeah, exciting. Also
Bayle
news.
Domon.
I was really worried he wasn't going to be in it,
Yeah.
but he
All
has a
right.
very important plot role in the first or the second book, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of these characters that are introduced that there's so many characters in this story. So it's hard. I don't know how they make these decisions on which ones are going to get introduced. Like, like with Tom, he got a severely like reduced role in the show versus what he had in the books because, he was in the books for mostly like, the first half of the book, whereas the show, he was just like in it for like 2 or 3 episodes. So I don't know. I don't know how they'll like kind of adapt his character, but I'm interested to see.
Same. And then our next casting news for Elyas Machera, Gary Beadle, who he's been in a lot of movies, but I don't think I've seen any of them.
I've seen the miniseries Small X, and I saw this once I heard that he was potentially cast because it's a bit of like I don't know how they like kind of Watt series is where we're getting most of this stuff from, and I think Geeky Airy was the one who initially wrote about the Gary Beadle, but yeah, he apparently responded to someone. So there was Watt series kind of understood that he was in the show at some point. They didn't know what role he'd be playing, but Gary Beadle responded to someone on Instagram with a wolf emoji to someone talking that's also confirmed to be in the show. And I believe it was some of the Shinarans in the show. And I want to say it's the guy who plays Agomar. Also, there's another character that's been cast for Massima. And we also have Uno.
Is Massima confirmed?
Massima and Uno, I think Uno was definitely in the first season.
Yeah.
But Massima, yes, was confirmed.
Cool.
And then we have not Agomar, but Ingtar. Ingtar was recast stealthily because he was supposed to be in the first season, but the guy who was playing Ingtar actually ended up having to leave the show for another show after that, after he was done filming. So they had to recast him, and they gave the person that was supposed to be playing Ingtar in the first season a different name. So we have a new Ingtar, but and I've lost all of those names. But as far as Gary Beadle's concerned, he, I guess, apparently like responded to one of those guys that plays one of those Shinarans with an wolf emoji to something, around the show. And so people were kind of speculating, okay, maybe he's playing Elyas because, Elyas is a very known wolf brother. So, but it seems to have been confirmed, at least by Watt's series. They seem pretty confident that Gary Beadle will be playing Elyas Machera. So, and I'm super excited for this because have read a I've read a bunch about this guy, and I kind of was part of the people who on Twitter at the time assumed that this might be the character. At first, I was like, maybe he's playing Gareth Bryn, who's a character who gets introduced later. But I ultimately was like, okay, Elyas seems like a good fit for this guy. And he's got a good show reel, and plus, I watched Small Axe, and there's a miniseries he's in called Small Axe. He's really good, and I think the fact they get a good character, like he's a really renowned actor, so I think this will be a really interesting take on this character. So I'm pretty excited to see how the show does it.
So, question about that, because he doesn't appear in this next two books. He's only in the first book. So how do you think they're going to weave him into the story and
into the pattern?
Yeah. And how, since he's he is an acclaimed actor, does that mean he's going to be like a bigger role than in the books?
I think so. I think Watt Up, a YouTube channel that does a lot of this sort of breaking down of the show leaks and stuff. I think he said that this character will probably, like Elyas in the show, will kind of replace Huron in the show in the books.
Oh, interesting. So I have two wolf brothers instead of a sniffer. Although I do love Huron.
I love Huron, but I think it might make sense to make Elyas basically take over Huron's role in the show.
Yeah, that does make sense.
And which would make sense why he would be interacting with some of the Shienarans, because if they introduce him as like a Huron-esque character, he would be with the Shienarans. So it would make a lot of sense that he would have a bunch of scenes with them and converse with them on Instagram. So I think that makes sense, and it makes sense based on where we left Perrin, because he is with the Shienarans at the end of season 1, and he kind of is going to probably be a big part of the hunt for the horn and the dagger, per how the season ends. So it makes sense that might be the case.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking about it with the wolf brother, the way that it's revealed to Perrin, it would be a lot of telepathic talking to wolves, which I feel like on screen is kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
So having another human character that he can, like, I don't know, dig deeper into the wolfy part of Perrin will be very helpful and make it a lot less cheesy. Although I still hope we get like a very obvious wolf that is Hopper.
I will be part of the revolution if Hopper is not an actual wolf that's introduced.
It needs to be written for season 3. He's not.
Yes. I hope so. I mean, Hopper is such a fundamental character, so I hope we get it, but we'll see. Okay, so that's kind of like the only characters that we kind of listed. I mean, there were some other characters that have been announced previously. I think there was Elaine with Kara Company, and there was 2 other characters.
Instagram presence, I just want to say, is very much Elaine. Like right before, I was stalking everybody trying to figure out if I could get any hints on what's going on, and it was just like the top of her head on a plane.
Yeah.
She's just saying, "I think I left my iron on." It sounds like something Elaine would do, like leave the White Tower and then just be anxious about how she left her room or something.
Yeah, I feel like she's gonna be great. I mean, based on like, I feel like I saw some from Rafe Judkins, the showrunner, saying people just like get the vibe that she's like Elaine, which I think has been the case for all the casting. That's why I'm not worried about any of the casting. I feel pretty good about the casting they've done for every character so far. I don't think I've had a problem. So I'm very excited to see Elaine show up.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't had a problem either.
Yeah.
I just want more like content. Can we
Yeah.
please have a teaser or something?
Yeah. I don't know. When do you think we'll get a teaser? I mean, like so part of the news is that they wrapped up filming, I think last week or the week before, right?
Mhm.
So filming is done. So perhaps we could get a teaser, I don't know, maybe in the next couple weeks, maybe next month.
That would be really cool, but I almost feel like because I know that they kept the Aviendah announcement under wraps for a really long time, and they were really strategic about doing that really organized announcement, plus
Right.
all those hints and stuff in the
Yeah.
JordanCon Q&A that I feel like they're probably not going to say anything until Lord of the Rings comes out
Yeah.
and do a teaser sometime like before an episode or something. That's my
I feel pretty confident that the season 2 won't come out until next year.
yeah, I'm saying we're not going to have a teaser like a reel of film shown to us
Yeah.
until Lord of the Rings, because Amazon will be on everyone's mind again and they can get people curious about it when they're sad
That
about
makes sense.
or
Yeah.
being.
Unfortunately, I think I agree with you. I think we won't see it for a while. But
That doesn't mean that I will be, when I get back on Twitter after my small break, that I will be IMing or DMing Wheel of Time, being like, "Where's the teaser? Where's the teaser?"
yes, I want it. I
It's,
want it.
even if it's just like Rosamund Pike opening her eyes again, I will be.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just give us something, It's been, especially if you're gonna do like, it's been 2 years. Like the show came out in 2021.
Yeah.
Give us something in 2022.
Yeah.
You got a few more months. Just give us like a little teaser. I think that would satiate a lot of anxieties about.
Even if it's just a picture of Donald Finn as Matt
Yeah.
in costume, I would be really happy about that.
I really need to see him in costume. Like, I think he'll do great. And I feel like I'm pretty confident in his, in the casting direction that the show's taken. So, but I do want to see him at least. He doesn't have an Instagram or like any social media. So like it's hard to be like very confident about what he's going to do yet. But I do feel excited to see what he's going to bring to that character.
Yeah, I want to see Elaine in costume. I wonder what they're going to do about, because after after Egwene and Nynaeve spend time in the White Tower, they start wearing these really elaborate, crazy dresses.
Right.
And are we going to get a bunch of dresses? Because I feel like they have to, especially thinking about Egwene and the Shan-Chan, where it's like really traumatic for her wearing that ugly Shan-Chan dress.
Right. And then like, Nynaeve and Elaine have to like, kind of blend in to try and save Egwene. I hope they do. I hope they keep that. I feel like they've done really good with the costuming in the show. So I hope they I think they will too. I'm not really like worried about it. I feel like they'll spend the time doing some of the costume changes. I'm not saying like they need like 7 different like, dresses, but like,
but
2 or 3.
also I wouldn't be surprised if they're in kind of like slightly colorful pantsuit-ish things, like how the other Aes Sedai are, with the riding clothes kind of look instead. Either way, I'm very excited because they constantly are trying to trick people into thinking they're Aes Sedai. So
yeah. And we have the kind of like what happened in season 1 where like Egwene steals back the rings that were taken by the White Cloaks. So I feel like that was a plot, like kind of like a
yeah, like how do they get rings so they can like sneak around pretending to be Aes Sedai? Oh, the possibility.
I feel like that's a good like, avenue to push that. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to bring up is, I think you mentioned it here, but like, what do you think we'll get in terms of the Black Aja? I guess specifically like
Leandrin.
Leandrin.
Yeah.
What do we think in terms of her potentially showing her colors, her true colors this season?
Yeah,
Do
I
you think they'll
mean,
push it off?
I don't think they will because I feel like that's like a huge piece of what happens in books 2 and 3 for
Yeah.
our novices slash accepted.
Yeah.
Also, how are they going to do the raising part?
I'm wondering if they will, like for you mean like for Nynaeve to be
Yeah,
race
so, but
accepted?
Nynaeve, but then also Egwene and Elaine are also raised to the accepted in the third.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how they're going to.
I think they're going to skip that. I don't think they're going to do it. At least like they might all get raised to accepted at some point, but I don't think they're going to do it where Nynaeve gets it before everyone else. I don't know though, maybe
That makes
because
sense.
I feel like they would have brought it up if they were going to do it. But I guess we'll find out. But I kind of feel like they're just going to put them all as novices so that Nynaeve gets more screen time, which
Yeah.
I'm not going to be angry about.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like it'd be great to actually see her as a novice, just because it's going to be funny.
Yeah. That's true. She'll hate it.
Yeah.
I feel like going back to Leandrin though, I'm wondering how they're going to, if they're going to do the Faldara, her manipulating all the women into trying to get information for her. I don't remember exactly what they do, what she does. I feel like that was forever ago. But
Right.
she goes around and like tricks them all in doing, especially what's her face? She died in season 1. Lady Amalisa.
Amelisa, yeah.
Yeah. Like she like especially tricks her into getting involved. Like I wonder if they're gonna do that and show her persuasion powers, I guess. Or
Yeah. I feel like they have to kind of, I wonder if they'll go that route because I'm not sure if they're going to do that sort of like every Aes Sedai or everyone that can use the one power has like a specialty, you know? It doesn't seem like, I guess I'm going off of the fact that Egwene healed Nynaeve like from like a near death, even though it seemed like she was dead. Um, she seemingly healed Nynaeve from near death,
yeah.
which Egwene is never a very strong healer. It's like constantly stated in the books. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, either they're changing that aspect of her character and making it a stronger thing, or making it less like everyone has their own like talent because maybe they can't deal with that
Yeah.
because there's too many characters.
Yeah. I don't know. Also, is it gonna be surprising when Leandrin is the Black Aja and that she's like organizing the entire
I don't know. I mean, like, it might be a little bit surprising. I think, though, not that much. I feel like people are, ready for her to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
But, the fact that she's like part of the bad guys team, like the ultimate bad guys team, might be jarring, but I don't know.
I feel like Nynaeve wouldn't agree to go to a random city because Leandrin said to.
Right. That's what's going to be hard to take because it's like, if they do it the way they did the books, like all the Aes Sedai were so trusted and they couldn't imagine them. But I feel like as a viewer of the show, I'm just like, obviously she's a bad guy.
Yeah, Nynaeve was like, that woman's a snake. So she obviously also thinks that.
I feel like if they do it in the show, they'll probably do something along the lines of her being instrumental in tricking them and somehow,
So maybe they'll reveal a different Black Aja that you wouldn't necessarily know about.
Right. I think that would be the best way to do it, but you know,
Yeah.
we'll see. Because I just feel like they made Leandrin obviously evil, or at least an antagonist. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess another one is they've been saying a lot that characters that are beloved and make it a lot longer in the series are going to die. Do you have any
yeah.
guesses on who's going to die?
I think my number one is the Armament seat. I don't know if it's going to be next season, perhaps the third season, but the fact I feel confident that they'll kill her off before it may, you know, I just feel like they will do it because it's like a character that you wouldn't expect, and it would be a big, you know, considering what happens in Dragon Reborn, right? Or is it Shadow Rising? I can't remember. I think it might be a Shadow Rising, maybe. But essentially, she's overthrown. She's overthrown, right? I'm pretty sure it's in Shadow Rising. She's overthrown, and I think they might just kill her off instead. I can see that making sense. I kind of feel like that's the case, but you know, we'll see. That's kind of my first thought, because I feel like I would love to get the actress to give her a ton of screen time, right, in the next 2 seasons, maybe the next season or two. I don't know when they'll actually do the overthrowing, but like, you know, give her a ton of screen time and then kill her off.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like there'd be a lot of backlash if they killed her, though.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of my first. That's my first one that I think might die. But I mean, like, they tried to kill off Loyal, which,
Right.
you know, he's loyal. You know, I don't like for him to be hurt. Also, like, who else? Like Uno
Yeah.
and
Uno's confirmed,
Ingtar.
though.
Yeah.
Uno's like confirmed, though, to still be.
Uno and I think Loyal are confirmed to be alive. I don't know about Agelmar. I think we can, maybe he might be in the next season. We don't know. I think the actor who plays Agelmar was seen in the filming, but I don't know. Who knows?
I'm a little nervous about season 2, just because I know Daniel Henney, he said that season 2 is supposed to be scarier than season 1.
Right.
And so I'm wondering what that means.
Here's my kind of like my big theory for how they're going to do season 2. I think there will be a combination of the Great Hunt and the Dragon Reborn. I think we're going to have the horn of Valir blown at the end of the season, as is in the Great Hunt. At the end of the book, you know, obviously Matt blows the horn. I'm hoping that it will still be Matt in the show that blows the horn, and I think they'll kind of combine some of the elements from the Dragon Reborn, in that the Aiel will be a part of that battle, just because.
Yeah. And maybe another thing is that Rand leaving is going to be him, the Dragon Reborn, basically being absentee, and then when he meets up with them, he accepts that he's the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah,
because that's
I think
the plot of the Dragon Reborn.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, he's kind of like, Rand's not really in the Dragon Reborn as much, and he's kind of like running away from his destiny that whole book, and like Perrin is searching for Rand. So I think they replace Perrin searching for Rand for Perrin maybe searching for Rand a little bit, but mostly searching for the horn and the dagger. And then it'll be Matt probably in Tarvalin, eventually making his way to Falma, where they, you know, have the big battle. And
Is that because he's looking for the dagger?
yes, I think
he's he's following the pull of the dagger.
Yeah, I think that's how they'll do it.
So
where he's like
the Kyrian Lord ball scene where he's ring servant. Oh,
I think what we'll get though is I think Rand will be in Kyrian, but I think before that he'll go to the waste. I mean, I don't see how they pull in the Aiel beforehand. That's kind of all I'm thinking.
I don't see how he's gonna go to the waste.
I mean, it'd be a huge change, and it's difficult to see how he'd survive. But
Yeah.
maybe.
Also, he's like still not really convinced that he has some like connection to the Aiel besides people
Right.
think that he looks like one.
Yeah, I'm curious because I feel like they could have him go to the waste. They could have him just like I don't know. The fact that they had the last season end with him looking at the waste, what seems to look like the waste, I don't know where else he would go from there.
I have a random prediction, and I'm curious about yours too, is what they're gonna do for the cold opens. Because I know that they've been having rumors about Brigida also being cast, and
Okay, yeah.
I think that would be a good cold open.
Oh, I hope so. I hope they give like
Because they gotta
there's a
have the
bunch of
heroes with the
heroes.
horn. So featuring the heroes, I feel like.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I feel like they've talked about they talked about Jane Foster. They've talked about like I think Brigida was mentioned month and like Hawkwing. I feel like it'd be a good season to introduce those, and like if they could do those in cold opens, that'd be really cool. Because then people wouldn't be like, who are these people that showed up?
Random
What's the
heroes.
right? Oh man, I feel like that's a great idea. I hope they do that.
I don't know. I just think that the way that they used the cold opens last season was so cool that I hope that they keep doing that with just random little
Right.
tidbits of stories.
Yeah. I'm completely on board with that. I think honestly, I think it makes so much sense because it would be you didn't have to explain it. You just be like, here's like a cold open of Brigida, like doing some like badass like bow work, taking out a bunch of people and like however they like weave that narrative into that episode, right? But
Mhm.
then like no one knows why. And then at the end of the season, the horn is blown and all these heroes come back and
Yeah.
you've already been introduced to them and know like these are heroes from the legends or whatever. I feel like that's a great idea.
Even reading The Dragon Reborn, I'm just like, who are these people?
Right.
They like,
Especially that
we heard you needed help. And it's just like, who are these people?
yeah, like when they show up, it's just like, like I feel like
Okay.
I can't remember whose head we're in, maybe Perrin or Rand, but it's just like they all showed up and like smoke is rising and like they're doing all this crazy stuff. I'm just like, I don't know how to connect with these people. Like, I know Hawkwing is like supposed to be like their like, King Arthur, I guess, but like I don't know. It was still hard to like make it like be impactful. So it would be cool if they do it with like a bunch of cold opens of those characters. At least some of the big ones at least.
Yeah, because I still want to have the Dark Friends social. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I got it right this time. Yeah, I want that too.
Yeah. We need one. Because we gotta like, I feel like they're gonna have to have baddies. And I feel like we need to see what the bad guys are up to. And I think we're gonna have the Daughter of the Night, the very one Landfear. I feel like we have to have her. And I feel like we'll get more, we'll get I'll cut some of this stuff out. But we'll get Balsamon from last season as well. And make sure I don't like spoil anything. But like yes, Balsamon and Landfear, I hope we get. But yeah, I think we at least need a couple baddies in this next season. So
I think so too. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. The one thing, all right, so here's the last question I have. Do you think we'll get the madness starting? I think you asked this question. Do you think we'll get it to begin in this season?
I think so. In my reread, I'm noticing him being like more paranoid than I remember.
Yeah.
and it's like, it's really sad, especially, I mean, I know we're not talking about the Shadow Rising, but like the
Right.
beginning of the Shadow Rising, it's really sad seeing his friends interact with him, and they're just like, oh my God, like, what happened to him?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see it. I'm
Okay.
excited. I think yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a lot darker than the first season in a interesting way.
Do you think it'll manifest like it did for Logain in the first season, or do you think it'll be more like we'll get the actor that played Lou Theron in the first season kind of just showing up?
I think we're gonna get the actor showing up, or I guess maybe like the weird like flicker scene, which I
Yeah,
don't know if we're gonna get. Hope we get some kind of version of it, because it's
I hope so too.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. I feel like we're gonna get more of those things, and we're not really gonna be sure if it's the madness or time travel or him accidentally stepping into alternate dimensions. And I don't know. I think they'll leave a little bit of questioning about whether or not he's going mad, but I think we'll be able to tell that his behavior will be weird.
Yeah, I feel like they have to. I really think that's the most dynamic part of, having a male channeler. They got to show the madness. They got to show it like start to affect him, if not like completely like be a big sort of like plot point for this season. I hope it is, because I think it's one of the, I think I said this before, it's one of the most compelling aspects, I think, is like that he is the chosen one, but also like the whole thing that they've established about being a person, a man who can channel,
Yeah,
means that like you will go mad. So I think they have to kind of like deal with that. So I hope they do.
I hope so too. I'm excited. I'm mad now. I'm like, still no idea when it's going to come out. I'm thinking my birthday week. That's my February 7th, 2023.
Okay. Your February birthday as well? Wow. I am as well.
Wow.
So
Are you an Aquarius?
I am, yeah.
Nice.
February 17th.
Nice. That's why your birthday is 2 days before Zoe Robins' birthday.
Oh, really? It's the same day as Michael Jordan's as well.
Oh, that's crazy.
It means nothing to me. I'm terrible at basketball.
Me and Ashton Kutcher have the same birthday. Very random also. So my prediction of when the show's coming out.
Yes. Hopefully we get something.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll say again that we're going to switch to bi-weekly episodes from here on out, and we're going to continue reading The Great Hunt in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So
I think what we'll try to do is maybe like condense some of the chapters so we can maybe get through. So we don't have to spend like going through every piece of every chapter, but kind of get through a chunk of it. Yeah.
I feel like when I'm writing out what we're gonna do, sorry for the behind the scenes shop talk, if you're curious, I feel like when I'm like trying to plan out, I think that it's gonna be fast, and then I get hung up on something. At least that happens to me.
That's exactly the same for me. I feel like there's so much cool stuff going on that like I feel like if I try to condense it, it'd still be interesting, because there's a lot of stuff that you can connect from chapter to chapter that if I spent a chapter delving in on the stuff that's interesting, it still gets built up in other chapters as well. So
it's true. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, I forgot to talk about this. Now I've got to tread all this old ground.
That's true.
Yeah, it's okay.
We'll do our best.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us. And okay, wait, hold on. I just butchered that. That's okay. Thank you for joining us for our 14th episode of The Great Honey. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Great Honey Pod, and The Great Honey on TikTok, and The Great Honey anywhere you can find podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We'll be releasing new episodes every other Friday-ish, and until then, see you around.
See you around.